Hi, I'm here to talk to you about modifiers and things that can go well and things that can go not so well. A modifier is any word or phrase that can come along and change the meaning of a word in the sentence. Like an adjective, here we go. Adjectives, adverbs, prepositional phrases, and verbal phrases are all called modifiers. You could, I suppose, also call adjective clauses and adverb clauses modifiers too, because they change the meaning of whatever they're modifying as well. Usually when we talk about things that are adjectives or are acting as adjectives in the sentence, we say that they describe, but that's how they're modifying the word. So there are three forms of modifiers, particularly three forms of adjectives and adverbs: positive, comparative, and superlative. And we've talked about this probably every year, so hopefully by now you understand how to form these. Positive modifies a word without comparing. That's a good answer. So good is a positive adjective because it's not comparing anything. Even if I say that's a bad answer, it's still a positive form of that adjective. And comparative means that it compares a word with something else. For example, this answer is better than that one. Okay, so now I'm comparing this answer to that answer. And so that's two different things that we're comparing. We use the comparative form, and as you should know by now in your school career, if it's regular, you just add ER to the verb. If it's a long, and really not very long, more than 5 letters probably, you need to add, instead of the ER suffix, you need to add the word more. So this puppy is more beautiful than that puppy. Okay, so we're comparing two different things. I ran farther than you did. So now we have an adverb, and for some reason I chose both irregular ones there. Irregular adverbs have different forms than just adding ER or adding more. But you should know all that by now. Anyway, farther is saying how I ran. It's an adverb, and since it has that form, farther, not far, but farther, I'm comparing my running to, in this case, someone else's running. You could also compare it to another time, like I ran farther today than yesterday. Okay, so you're not necessarily comparing two nouns or two verbs. It could be something more general than that, I suppose you could say. And then there's positive, comparative, and then there is the superlative form. In the superlative form, the adjective or adverb compares a word with more than one other word. So my design was okay, but Anelli's was the best. And in this case, I'm not really I left out what I'm comparing it to, but apparently Anelli's design was better than many other people's, okay, or at least 2 other people's, because that's what superlatives do. They don't just compare 2 things, they compare more than 2 things. Sarah sings the most beautifully of us all. So this is an adverb. It talks about how Sarah sings, and whoever us all is, that's who's singing I'm comparing Sarah's singing to. And you see the long form of the superlative there with the word most. Many times the word most is paired with the article the. Sarah sings the most beautifully of us all. Yeah. Watch out for, and this is, now I'm fixing to read this, but I used fixin' to. That's my Texan showing. I am about to read the next part, and this is a different topic. So up here is about comparisons and down here is about some problems with some modifiers. Often participial phrases can be dangling or misplaced. A misplaced modifier is placed so far away from the word it modifies that the meaning of the sentence is unclear. For example, after getting lost, the owner finally found the puppy. Probably the owner is not the one that's lost, but in the sentence it sounds that way because after getting lost is close to the owner and not close to the puppy, and probably the puppy is the one that got lost. So to fix it, we could say, after getting lost, the puppy was finally found by his owner. And now that makes more sense. Let me put the modifier, in this case a participial phrase, near the word that it's supposed to be modifying. A dangling modifier does not clearly modify anything in the sentence. Carefully turning the pages, this book was sure to be a thriller. In this case, it sounds like the book is turning its own pages, but actually someone is turning the pages of the book. But it doesn't say who that someone is, and that someone is who this participial phrase is supposed to be modifying. Carefully turning the page, Samuel was sure this book would be a thriller. Now that makes more sense, because Samuel is the person who's carefully turning the pages, not the book itself. So we will have several exercises like that in the book, and it'll be on all three of these things, or four of these things: comparatives, superlatives, misplaced modifiers, dangling modifiers. If you have any questions, let me know. Please come to the meet, where we will be discussing the pages that I'm writing in the description of this video. And then I will give you a written assignment that will be to write things that illustrate your knowledge of this. And I will give you clearer directions later. Happy writing.